Hello everyone, this is False One Reads, and today I am bringing you my December reading plans. And now I don't usually do these videos. I haven't done videos in a while, but I don't usually do these videos because I don't really have good planning skills. Or it's not don't have good planning skills. I don't have good execution skills. I am finishing up The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker, and I was thinking after that I pretty much have a clean slate. I have nothing that I really want to read. I could read The Warrior Prophet or something like I could get back into one of the books that I have paused right now. But I was thinking, why not make a monthly or a month of like themed reading? Because I have a lot of these shorter books around and I don't really read them because I go, well, I can read them whenever because they're short books, so they probably wouldn't take that long. Why don't I have a month of just short books? So the first one I want to show is this one, Knight of Seven Kingdoms. The Hedge Knight is 118 pages long, but that's with the illustrations in it. And it's by George R. Martin. And I've always had this, and I love the Game of Thrones series. The only one I haven't read is the fifth one. But that's the series that got me into reading as a young kid. Not as a young kid. As a high school aged kid. I started reading those in grade 9, and that's where my love of reading comes from, is because those are just such fantastic books. And I haven't read anything that isn't the first 4 Game of Thrones books, and I just know that George R. R. Martin is a great author, and I want to read more. So I was thinking, you know what? This whole book is pretty long, but the first story is qualifying for this. And then the second one, I think, would be in this collection, which is Jorge Luis Borges's collected fictions, and his classic collection of fictions is in here from 1944. I've already read one of these, but it's about 51 pages long, and it's short stories, and that's his most acclaimed one, and I want to read that one especially. I've read basically his first short story collection that is collected in here, and you can see I have a bookmark in there. So after that, I'd want to get to that. Now I'm aiming for 4 of these, 3 or 4. I'd be happy with 3. I'd be ecstatic with 4. The next one is, I was thinking, H.G. Wells's The Island of Dr. Moreau, which is, 138 pages long. Now I can get probably like 300 to I can get 1,000 pages a month if I'm really good on reading, and if I'm not good on reading, I can get like 400, 500 pages. So these are like fairly good books to slot into this month. And you know what? I just realized this will bump up my reading figures, but this isn't about that. This is about getting to these short books that I never make time for because they're just so short that I'm like, I always have time for short books. But Island of Dr. Moreau, this is like, I picked this up at a local event for books, and it's the one I don't think about with H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells has War of the Worlds, which, you know, it's War of the Worlds. It's a classic, but The Island of Dr. Moreau is the classic that not many people talk about. And when you do talk about it, it's always like, this is the classic you want to read. And also, what was it? I know that there's maybe it's a Canadian TV show, but it's based off this. And I kind of, I remember that show barely, and I kind of want to see what it's based on. And then the next one I have is Osamu Dazai's No Longer Human, which is, how many pages long? 177 pages, so almost 200 pages. This is on the longer end of a short book, but it's still a short book. I bought this and I was like, I'm going to read it, and then I read something else because I am, again, not great at executing on plans. But I want to read this because I also want to get the Junji Ito, or I at least want to read the Junji Ito adaptation for the manga, but I want to have read the novel first to see what the differences are. And then we have The Drowned World by J.G. Ballard, which comes in at almost 200 pages, about 198 pages. So This is Ballard. I have watched the Love, Death, and Robots for the Drowned Giant, and that's my favorite Love, Death, and Robots episode ever. I have the complete short stories of J.G. Ballard, and I have this novel, and I ordered the novel The Atrocity Exhibit. I love, like, J.G. Ballard's... okay, I've read one short story from him. I've read Prima Belladonna, but it was so good. I still think about it sometimes. Like, I'm just that image of the singing plant, and it's so good. And I want to get into his novels and read more of him. So I'm thinking, I've had this, and I'm like, well, it's so short I could read it whenever. Well, if you read it whenever, you don't read it at all. So J.G. Ballard, Drowned World, almost 200 pages. And then we have Kurt Vonnegut, which I think seems to be just about 213 pages, with Slaughterhouse-Five. This is Kurt Vonnegut Jr. with an exclamation mark. This is a really kind of weird way to write a name, but this is a very it's not stunning, but I like old copies of books. And you have the sprayed edges, which, you know, to me, I as someone who sometimes goes in and buys old copies of books, sprayed edges always scream cheap, because this is to hide the fact that your fingers would, like, almost ruin the paper. And that's why I like nice white paper on my books, because this screams like, you know, it's cheap. It's cheap. But yeah, this is a classic, and it's short, and so I see it and I go, I can read it any time, but I don't read it. That's the important part, is I don't read it. So that's what this month is about, is getting to those books that I could read at any time, but I don't, because they're short and I could read it at any time. I want to, like I said, finish 4 of these books. I would be okay with 3. And this has nothing to do with bumping up my numbers for reading, because actually one thing I do value is on my Storygraph page, it says that I prefer, because I have read more, I prefer reading 500 plus page books. And, you know, if I read too many short books, that number will drop, right? And I don't know. I'm not really a numbers obsessed guy. I'm probably not going to hit my goal, even if. Let's pull up the stats here. Actually, hold on. There we go. Let's pull up the stats. This year I have read 20 books, and my goal was 25. So after I finish Darkness Comes Before, I will have read 21, and then 4 books would get me to 25. So I guess that kind of works out. I wasn't doing the math before, but yeah, that's a pretty good ideal to get to. If I had to say which ones I really want to read, I would say probably like Fictions, The Hedge Knight, The Drowned World, and probably Dr. Moreau. But definitely The Drowned World and The Hedge Knight and Fictions. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you some other time in another video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.